Hello and welcome to my channel. If you are brand new here, welcome. My name is Linda. If you're returning, welcome back, and thank you guys so much for being here. I really appreciate you taking time to let me be a part of your day. So I have been gone for a couple of weeks and I do apologize. Life kind of kicked us in the butt. I think in my last video I was talking about getting ready for Mabon, which is also Chubun in the Korean solar calendar. And yeah, it was just kind of like, wow. So on the 23rd, I had mentioned that we were having the new building delivered, and I was also had a dentist appointment. So that kind of threw us for a loop, because of course I would plan everything for like the literal middle of the day. So that kind of killed a big portion of it, because then by the time we got home, I was pretty worn out. So my plans for that whole day kind of took a backseat. Sorry, my hair is making me nuts. So anyway, so before the building got here, we had to tear down the old structure that had been here, clear out all the rubbish, of which there was a lot, because I don't know if I mentioned this before in the previous video, but the people that lived here before essentially tried to build a garage that had a dirt floor, and then they essentially turned it into a giant trash can, because apparently they didn't pay their trash bill. So we live out in the country, you have to pay a trash bill. I think most people probably do. And the lovely people from the trash company come and pick it up. It's not that big of a deal. It's actually super cheap and cheerful. We have 2 bins, and it's like way less than we used to pay where we lived previously in Oklahoma. So anyhow, so we live out in the country. So I guess their idea was to simply just put the trash in the building, and so we had to deal with all of that as well. And yeah, so that was kind of our life for about a month. Every weekend going out there and knocking it down more and more and more. On one occasion we discovered a bumblebee nest. Actually kind of more or less discovered us. They were in a really terrible spot, and they had chosen to live behind the previous structure on foam. I don't know why they were using this weird foam, but they were. And it was simply just part of the trash and the rubbish that had been left behind. And so we had to relocate them, but not before it was the attack of the bumblebees. And then I had no idea. It had been a long time since I'd been stung by a bee of any kind, or wasp, or anything of that nature. And yeah, I got nailed like 6-7 times, so that was fun. Thankfully not allergic, neither is my husband. He got nailed a couple of times. So all in all, it was a great day. So took care of that whole situation, finally got all of that taken care of, and that's kind of where we are right now. But in the meantime, I have been squirreling away stuff, because I feel like it's easier to simply purchase things. If you're going to purchase things, you don't have to purchase anything, of course, to practice magic of any kind. And I'm certainly not encouraging anybody to run out there and spend their hard-earned pennies or doll hairs on shit you don't need. But if you're going to, I find that it's easier and it makes my budget happier if I simply do things little by little. And so I might pick up, I don't know, sheep protectors on one weekend, and I might grab some, a little of this or a little of that. I just find it simply easier. Now, of course, like I said, you don't have to have any of this. If you have a printer, you can pick up, if you want to, if you don't already have some, you can pick up some stickers, like blank sticker pages that are the size of normal paper. Run those through your printer, use Canva, make yourself some really cool stickers. Bob's your uncle, Fanny's your aunt. You've got stickers. I made stickers for a long time, mostly because I love making stickers, but I didn't really have time this time. And also, I only just recently got my printer up and running. I've had it for like a year, not gonna lie, because I also treated myself last year to a new laptop because my other laptop had died. And I went from your standard HP to a Mac. And the learning curve, she has been real. So trying to figure that whole thing out. And I'm not gonna lie, I called my, well, I didn't call her, I messaged my genius baby sister to help me figure out how to set my printer up to this thing. because I have to wirelessly print. Previously, I could just plug in the cable to my laptop and it was not that big of a deal. I could just print however I wanted to. I have yet to figure out how I'm going to use my Cricut with this whole mess. I have no idea. I know you can get like little attachments or something for the Mac. I'm not there yet. I'm not necessarily technologically challenged, but I am not necessarily the most tech savvy human on the planet, which is weird because I work with a computer every single day of my life. And yeah, so that kind of happened. But anywho, if you have a printer that works, preferably, and you have even just regular plain old copy paper, you can make up all kinds of stuff. You can make up different spreads, different sheets, whatever. If you can hear my dogs, I do apologize. This is the time of day when they like to play because it's usually right before I have to go to work. So this is when they get kind of crazy before mom has to go into work for the day. So if you hear them, I do apologize. I'm not going to try to edit it all out. It's just silly. But that being said, I have been squirreling away stuff, so I have a huge pile of crap to show you that I'm going to be trying to implement, incorporate, utilize, add to, whatever, find an adjective you like, for my book. And again, you do not have to purchase a freaking thing. You can use a spiral bound notebook if you want to. Hell, write it on a napkin if you want. Because at the end of the day, you don't even need to make a book. You don't have to make, it doesn't have to be, you don't have to call it a grimoire, book of shadows, codex. You don't have to have any of that to do magic. Like, you literally don't. I enjoy the process. I enjoy having one. So that's kind of where we're at. Now, to give a little bit of context before I show you all the random bits and bobs I've got. Now, mind you, I'm also super cheap. I do not spend a whole lot. So if I'm going to be purchasing little bits and bobs here and there, it's very inexpensive because that's just how I am. I am by nature a very, I'd say frugal, but it's not that. I'm cheap. We'll just put it that way. And anywho, so I had done previously the video on the witch's book, and I was talking about the differences between, Book of Shadows, grimoire, codex, whatever you want to call it. And I know they say that your phones don't listen and that media, whatever doesn't listen, but I feel like they kind of do, because suddenly I started getting all of these little prompts of different Book of Shadows, grimoires, but I was also getting something called a war binder. And I was like, what the hell is a war binder? It is literally like the Christian version of a Book of Shadows, not even gonna lie. So I was intrigued, because why wouldn't I be? I'm a very curious person, and I just wanted to see what it was all about. So then I kind of went down this rabbit hole of I was consuming a lot of grimoire, Book of Shadows videos, and then I was also kind of watching a lot of different Warbinder playlist videos or whatever, and I was just really kind of intrigued because there are so many parallels within our different religions. So whether you are Christian or you're pagan or Wiccan or whatever, there are a lot of overlap and a lot of parallels. And I'm not here to get into the whole discussion of what came first, the chicken or the egg. That's not what this is about. This is just to show that there are very similar things. So then I looked up the sections, because I was kind of listing sections that I wanted to put in my codex. And then I found this really cool blog post, thank you Pinterest, of lists that, anyway, we'll get to that in a second. So common sections in a war binder. Now see if any of this just kind of to me it just kind of was oh, because that's just how my brain works. So they have a praise worship section, and okay, a space to list God's names, attributes, worship song lyrics, or hymns. Well, that sounds kind of similar to something that we might do, right? I don't know. It just seemed kind of similar. So maybe and I wrote them down because old brain. like deity studies maybe, because you know they're talking about his different names and his attributes. Okay. Confessions, repent, where you can confess sins, acknowledge areas for pruning, and ask for forgiveness and cleansing. Well, I was thinking that maybe that's part of your shadow work, is dealing with some of your old shiz from when you were a kid. Petition requests, for specific requests you have for yourself. Okay, well that might be a reflection. Of course, that could also be your repent confession section too, is reflection. Or maybe, let's see, what was the other one? Petition requests for specific, maybe if you have anything that you're trying to manifest, maybe that would go there. Intercessions, a section to list prayers for specific individuals or groups, like family, friends, ministry, or the nation, whatever. Kind of right there with meditations. Scripture or word, space to record inspiring verses, practice scripture writing, and keep track of Bible studies. Well, that could also be where you put your favorite affirmations. Maybe if you have a word of the week or a power word that you really like, or your word of the year, whatever. Gratitude. I think gratitude is pretty universal. Gratitude. I think you should always have a gratitude section in anything, regardless of where your faith is. My love / personal, a section to list virtues you want to embody or areas of personal spiritual growth. Well, I feel like that's study. Like a study section. Sermon notes. We have spell or ritual notes. And then a space for miscellaneous, just the random thoughts or what have you. So I thought that was kind of interesting. Maybe y'all don't, I don't know. I just thought it was kind of interesting that they're calling it the war binder, because I'm sure they're at battle with someone. But anywho, so I was thinking, like, I wanted to kind of like narrow down my, I was gonna do like my codex as basically like my hardcore knowledge of things I've already studied previously, spells, rituals I've already done. I'd like to keep in there just to kind of keep a record for myself. And then my other book that I'm going to be showing you guys, we're going to be trying to make today. It'll probably be a 2-part video. I do apologize now, but I have a feeling I'm kind of long-winded and it's going to take forever. So this is going to be a multi-part video. But I wanted to have what I've been calling my currently book, because what I'm currently studying, and I apologize if the lighting is really terrible. I do have another side light on, but it makes my face look weird, I think. Like, oh, I'm dark and spooky. So I don't know, I can't ever figure out how to do lighting. Is that like, yeah, see, that's like terrible. Is that any better? Ugh, I don't know, whatever. Okay. Yeah, see, the lighting in here, this whole entire house is like ridiculous. So we're back to this. Okay. Where was I? Oh, so I want to do a currently book. Essentially a currently learning, studying, practicing, like what I'm doing currently with my life in the world of, how I practice my craft. And, yeah, so we're going to call it a currently book. It's going to be disc bound. And we're going to start essentially with that. My codex has already been started, and I did show that. And I'm still working out how I want that to look. So I'm just kind of, it's going to be a process, I think. It took me forever and a day to do that one. I have a feeling this is going to be the same way. I do have another cover I could use if I just choose to keep it as it is and use new sheet protectors or what have you, but we'll see how that goes. Oh, and my new coffee cup, isn't it cute? I collect vintage Christmas and vintage Halloween. They're my two things. And when I saw this little face, I just thought, oh, he's so cute. And he does remind me of like the old-timey Halloween stuff. I like vintage Christmas because I think it's colorful and kitsch, and it is what it is. So, that being said, I'm gonna kind of grab some items here and I'll kind of show you the supply list. She's kind of long, I'm not gonna lie. In fact, I have a list here somewhere of like stuff. Again, do you need all of this stuff? Absolutely not. Not a bit of it. If you don't want it, don't get it. Now, if you're not here to make a book of shadows, then honestly, I can't imagine why, you know, you'd be hanging out with me, but I do appreciate you being here anyway, even if you're not into making your own currently book. Now, you can call this your Pagan Warbinder if you want, however you want to do it. You can call it whatever you like. I'm calling it my currently page. It's currently what I'm doing. So, for supplies, I have my rings. These are rose gold. My husband picked them out for me. I think I mentioned my husband loves Timo, and so he got me these ones. They're just little rose gold rings. I don't even know what size they are. I couldn't tell you. Maybe I'll say on the package. It just has 11 pieces, so we'll go with that. Oh, now this is something that I bought a long time ago, and you don't have to have this particular brand. You can have whatever you want. I bought this because I want to do foiling and on some stuff that I was working on previously within the world of crafts. And I have a lot of craft supplies because I am a crafter. I make a lot of weird shit. I make a lot of jewelry. I make a lot of just stuff. So I have a huge collection of craft supplies. Again, you don't have to have this brand. She was spendy, but I love her, and so she's literally just a glorified laminator. But it's my ink machine, and she gets extra hot. So you can go up to like level 5. But I mean, know what you're doing with the type of laminating sheets that you're using. But if you're gonna laminate with her, otherwise it's just for adding like foil. You can get foil online, you can get it at Hobby Lobby, wherever. And so you take, you know, like you have to use 2 different printers. You have to use the kind of printer that has like the toner. You print that out first. You put your foiling sheet on there, and then you run it through this, and the foil sticks to the little granules or dusty stuff or whatever that was in the toner. Anyway, it's a process. So that's why I have this. So because I spent money on her, I do use her whenever I can. I'm not even gonna lie. And then of course laminating pouches, which I think I left over yonder. Let's see. I did get a hole punch because, like I said, this is going to be disc bound. So I got a hole punch. I did not spend $30 on the big, like, fancy schmancy happy planner hole punch. So I'm gonna have to punch a couple of times to make this one work. It'll be fine. I'm sure I'll survive. But again, it's just a hole punch. What else? Oh, and then I did show you guys previously all of the like this is my washi, like the different sticker books that I had. I don't know if I showed this one or not. It's like super cute. It's also off Temu. Don't come at me about Temu. If you like Temu, cool. If you don't, that's cool too. But there's like all kinds of like little stickers, and I have a thing for mushrooms, so there's a bunch of that in here. So very cute. It was like a couple bucks. I did show previously my sticker books. These are probably the 4 things I probably spent the most money on, to be honest with you, was just these sticker books, because they have like a bazillion stickers in them, and I'm gonna be using them for a long time, and so I don't feel terrible about that. But a lot of times you get these on sale also. Just wait for, you know, Amazon to have their Amazon Day sale. This is some more paper. This this is stuff my husband got for me, which I think is super cute. And then somewhere, I'm sure, oh, it's up there. I have some more paper stuff. So just like, you know, some like little journaling papers and stuff. And let's see, this is, I'm sorry, stretching all. Where'd I put it? I know I have some more paper stuff somewhere. Ugh. Like I said, I've been scrolling stuff away for so long that it's like kind of crazy. Oh. And I've got these little stickers here that are like crystals. And so I thought these were like really pretty. What else? What else? Oh, and then these ephemera books that I had gotten. This one, and this is actually just paper because I want to use these for like part of the cover of my currently paid book, and I just think they're super pretty. And then of course my Crystal Witch book. Now of course these have to be cut out, so to that end I have some really tiny scissors. Or you use big honking scissors if you're like really good at cutting stuff out. You know, you use whatever. These are some ink pads I had like forever. In fact, they have dust on the top of them because they've been sitting around for so long. So hopefully these are still viable. They're just for like distressing stuff. This is just a brown ink pad for like antiquing stuff before I put it down. Glue sticks, tape runner. And this is the dual-sided tape that I used last year for a project. I have 2 rolls, and this one I've used up quite a lot of, but you peel it off and pull it, and then the top part comes off, so you have like little strips. So it's essentially a tape runner without the gun or the little holder. And I got that last year because it was cheaper than buying a tape runner. So there's that. Pens, highlighters, normal stuff. Whiteout. This is just like the whiteout. I'm sure you've all seen whiteout before. A little whiteout runner. And that's because if you make a mistake, I'm using white pages. So obviously if you're using a colorful paper, this may not work out for you, but I'm using just white paper, so correction fluid of some kind, you know, for any mistakes. I do have a bunch of like other washi, little memo book my sister sent me, some stickers, anything that you can, you know, that you might want to decorate. Now, of course, since I am really wanting to incorporate a lot of Korean folk magic, my sister has sent me these really cute Korean stickers. So these will be coming in handy for that. I'm kind of sad because I can't order from her right now because, you know, tariffs are a thing. Oh, this is another sticker my sister sent me. Isn't that cute? Because I like to crochet. But Swirly Nix on YouTube, love her stuff. So I have some stickers from her that I ordered before she stopped her shipping to the US because, you know, whatever. So I'm also not going to get into that. So but yeah, so I have a bunch of like stickers from her that I think are glorious. And of course I ordered stickers of what I thought was all my cats, only to discover that I somehow managed to leave out the ginger cats, and I have 2 of them. So I have the tuxedo and I have the gray, and I somehow managed to forget to order the stinking ginger kitty ones, and I can't get it right now because, like I said, she's not shipping here. But I'm gonna see if I can send it to my sister because my sister lives in Canada, and then figure out how I'm gonna get it here. But anywho, she's got glorious stickers. I love her artwork so much. And then she always includes a little freebie. That's cute. So anyway, so I have those, and then I don't know if you want to put like, I mean, with a hole punch, you can like literally put anything you want to inside your book. And so this is from Emily, and now I just like literally drew a blank. I'll put her name in here. Emily Cromwell. Good Lord. Emily Cromwell Designs. She's got glorious stuff also. Clear, this is from last year. This is my notebook from Swirly Necks. But I have quite a few different things from Swirly because I absolutely love her artwork. And so I was just thinking a lot of these would be kind of handy, you know, in different sections maybe. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. We'll just kind of not put, you know, make ourselves crazy thinking about it and just kind of do it. So the other thing you'll probably need is a straight edge of some kind. I just have a basic triangle. Use a ruler too, clearly. And then paper cutter. Because if you want to trim your sheets, if they're too big or what have you, depending on the size that you're wanting. This is actually brand new. My husband got it for me because I was not going to spend this much money on a freaking paper cutter. But my other paper cutter had like died last year and it was starting to tear pages, which was like super annoying because I've had it for like 20 years and I feel like paper cutters should last longer than 20 years. But I digress. So he got me this one. And, oh, if you need anything to refer back to, like for reference, for, you know, if you're doing your actual codex or Book of Shadows or Grimoire or whatever, and you need something to refer back to, maybe some reference materials. Because we're going to 2026, I have my almanac, and I also have my Llewellyn's correspondence book. Now this does not have everything. It's not completely inclusive. I wish it truly was, but I don't know that that's ever going to be a possibility because I don't know that it's ever going to be a thing. But, so I grabbed that for reference. I also have my original codex for reference. Some more colored pencils and pens. Anything else? I think that's it. Oh, and then I have like my printer page, like my papers that I showed you before that had like the antique paper, and then I have just some blank paper for the book that's already punched with the holes for the disc bound. I don't know why I can't speak. Words are like very hard today. So I think that might be everything, possibly. Maybe. We will see. But, so that's kind of where we're starting at. That's kind of the beginning. And I'll just kind of, we'll wrap this one up right here. So, this might be the video that everybody skips. I don't know. Because how much do you really want to see all the random shit that I'm using? Again, if you do enjoy these kind of videos that are kind of scatterbrained, because that's how I am, then by all means leave me a like, comment down below. Thank you guys so much for being here, and I will see you in the next one where we're actually going to start working with all this random crap that I have and trying to put something together that makes sense. And don't forget that the real magic lives inside you, because you are the real magic. So 진짜 마법은 당신 안에 있어요. See you guys in the next one. Thank you so much for being here, and have an amazing and blessed day. Bye.